With believable hair and fur being pretty much a common thing these days on most animated characters, 3ds Max offers a special modifier to help in getting the job done. This video will show you how it works. This is a file named Hair and Fur Modifier. You can find it in the Working Files folder. Let's go ahead and select our object and head over to the Modify column. Entering the modifier list in the World Space Modifiers category, we'll choose Hair and Fur. Once that's in place, we'll go ahead and render our scene. So applying the hair is pretty straightforward. Let's see if we now can't limit the specific area as to where the hair forms being only on the top half of our object. That'll require us to make a sub-object selection. The modifier gives us the option of being able to get down to that level. Let's close the render and head over to the modifier stack. We'll open the Hair and Fur entry, then click on Polygon. To make our selection, let's return to Fur Views. We can do that by typing Alt-W. Working in our front window, let's now select the top half of our object as a series of polygons. Once we've done that, we can return the perspective view to being full screen. The trick to limiting the hair to just a specific area is an option we find a little farther down in the controls. In the Selection section, we'll want to click on the button that says Update Selection. Let's go ahead and render again. As you can see, our hair solution is now being limited only to our polygon selection. Now, if we need the hair to be a little thicker, we can do that by changing the number of hair strands. You'll find that setting in the General Parameters section. To get there, we'll position our mouse in the right-hand column, then right-click. From the menu, we'll choose General Parameters. The hair count value starts at 10,000. Let's bump that up to 25,000. Once we've done that, we'll render again. If the hair still needs to be a little thicker, we can take the number even higher. Let's try 50,000. With that number in place, we'll again render. Adding to the hair count definitely is render intensive. So if you're bogging down a little on your render time, you can adjust the numbers accordingly. You also have control over the color of the hair. Those settings are found in the Material Parameters section. We'll again right-click on the right-hand side column, choosing Material Parameters. The color of the hair is controlled by two settings, the tip color and the root color. Let's take our tip color to orange and we'll see how that looks. For the root color, let's take that to a dark shade of green. I'll click on the color swatch, making the necessary changes. By the way, you can actually see the color variations that we're creating directly inside the viewport. Back in the render, the white color that we're picking up on the right-hand side is coming from the specular setting on the material. A little below the two color swatches that we've been changing, you'll see the specular value. Let's take that to 0 by right-clicking on either of its two spinners. Once we've done that, we'll set the render back in action. So make sure you remember that in your own work. If you're ever picking up any unexpected white coloration, it's coming from the specular setting on the hair's material. If you're adding hair to, let's say, an older character, you can even add a little aging into the hair configuration. The setting is called Mutant, and you've got controls for both the color of the aging and the amount. Why don't we start with both the tip and root colors set to black so we can make a comparison. I'll do that by first changing the tip color to black, then copying that down to the root setting. Now for the black color, I'll simply right-click on the value spinner. To copy the color swatch, I'll simply drag and drop, then choose Copy. Let's go ahead and render that when things are in place. Okay, we'll leave the mutant color on white, and we'll change the mutant percent to 25. Heading back to the viewport before we render, you'll see again we're seeing that color variation inside our view. Let's render again and see how things look. If we're wanting the hair to look even older still, we can simply bump up the mutant value. Let's take that to 50. Rendering again, you can see the difference that's made. The modifier also gives you a handful of handy preset styles and types that you can choose from. Back in the right-hand column, we'll right-click, going to the Tools section. In the Presets category, we can now click on Load. From the list, let's choose Fuzzy Brown, then render again. Now with these presets, you can always go back in and make whatever adjustments you might need to get the specific look you're aiming for, changing things like hair count, color, etc. Let's try another preset, this time loading Red Scraggle. Now again, we're picking up a little extra white on the right-hand side of our image. Let's head back to the Material Parameters category and we'll again lower the specular level. Once we've done that, we'll render again. So that's the ticket on your hair configuration. If you're picking up some unwanted additional white in your hair, lower the specular level. If things look a little frizzy, you can also control that. There's a specific section called Frizz Parameters. Let's head there. In the category, we'll take the frizz tip value to 0. Once we've done that, we'll render again for comparison. Now the results are subtle, but changing the value did remove a little of the variation on the hair tips. It's even possible to interactively comb or style the hair to your liking. For those options, we'll right-click again in the right-hand column, choosing Styling. Once in the category, to activate the brushing option, we'll click on Style Hair. When moving your mouse into the viewport, you'll now notice a green round shape attached to your mouse. This is basically your brush. To comb the hair, you'll simply hold down the left mouse button, brushing the hair in the direction you want it to go. I'm going to go ahead and brush my hair upwards. When brushing, you'll typically find that shorter strokes works best. Now, it might take you a little time to get things into position, but when you're happy with the way things look, go ahead and render. Let's see how the look would change if we maybe brushed out both sides a tad. It takes some practice and certainly some trial and error, but it's pretty neat how things turn out. So there you go with a few things regarding adding hair. I'm sure you've got a project or two where you can put the modifier to work right away. I'm going to go ahead and save this out as Hair and Fur Modifier Completed if you'd like to go in and take a look.